everyone. Welcome to Bridgerton Fancast. We're a fan-made podcast about the Netflix show Bridgerton.
I'm Michelle. I live in the States. You can find me at Musings on Instagram and Twitter, and I have not read the Bridgerton books.
And I'm Rita. I live in England, and I'm at Annoying Rita on Instagram and Twitter, and I'm the book reader.
And welcome to Inboxathon.
Yes, I finally came up with a name. It's not my best work. Just go with it.
Over the course of the season, we have been really blown away by everyone's emails. They have been funny, they have been insightful, and most of all, they have been long. You guys are our people. So we are giving you the floor for this week and hearing what you thought of season 2.
But before we begin, I thought we should maybe talk about the schedule of the next few podcasts, because it has become abundantly clear that you guys are not listening after we say we're wrapping up. I want to avoid a bunch of angry DMs going, "Where's the podcast?" Okay, so our next podcast is going to be our book club episode. We're going to be reading and then talking about The Viscount Who Loved Me. And this isn't just for diehard book fans. I really want to emphasize this. I want to make sure it's super inclusive for newbies. Michelle will be a first-time reader as well, so we want everyone to join us and tell us what your impressions are reading it. The good news is for everyone that you have little time to do that reading. I'm going to be flying home to Portugal to visit my family for the first time since COVID. Yay! I've cancelled 4 trips.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I won't be able to record for the next 2 weeks because my 96-year-old grandma, unsurprisingly, is not yet on the line. Direct quote, that's what she calls it. So while we are on our 2-week break, please take this time to read the book as many times as you like. I personally will be reading it every day. And really bask in that Canthony glow. Our book club episode should go up on the 14th of June. And if it's not up, please then come yell at me. Yes. But anyway, let's dive into the Inboxathon. I wish I could have left some of these unedited like I promised, but we were overwhelmed by the sheer numbers we found in our inbox. And I wanted to make sure that everyone got their little moment in the sun without it being another 3-hour recording session. We have lives, people. And also, girl, Robin from Australia. Girl. We're saving your essay for our season 2 roundup podcast, everyone.
Yes.
Get excited for that. She sent in a whole ass essay with charts. Yes, plural.
Charts.
Charts that I'm obsessed with. But I need some time to read them all in detail. So we're going to save that data set for our season 2 roundup podcast. Anywho, let's start. We have 30 pages.
As I am wont to say around here, buckle up. It's gonna be a long one. Hi, Rita and Michelle. Season 2 posts kept popping onto my timeline, and in one episode of Kelly Clarkson's show, she did a summary of it. I was skeptical for a month after its release, even though it features Indians. But Hollywood has botched Indian representation several times, and I didn't know if I was ready to see one more. One of the posts described the performances in an interesting way, and I started to look at behind the scenes. I really don't mind a spoiler. I need to know if I can invest my mind and time on this narrative. I don't remember what steered me to view the show, but I'm glad I found my way. At this time, I had not seen season 1, had only heard about it in snippets and small scenes which popped on my feed. I watched season 2 without watching season 1, of course. I went through the season 1 recap on Netflix. I am low-key obsessed with season 2 now. I like this kind of romance narrative. Felt like it was earned, not something like, oh, you are perfect and let's get together, and which keeps on explaining stuff like we are 3 years old. Right there with you. About the performances. Oh my God, Jonathan Bailey and Simone Ashley just hit it out of the park like nobody's business. I wish we had got more scenes out of them. Honestly, I could care less about people complaining that the nicknames and traditions were mashed up. I've traveled around a lot because of my father's job, and even though I am a South Indian, I call my older sister Didi, which is more common in the northern part of India, instead of Akka, South Indian. My younger cousins shift from Didi to Akka to Didi based on their liking. The part about traditions, Haldi ceremony is being adapted exclusively across India, even though it was not a common sight in some states. Applying mendi on hands is not common in the South, but no wedding is complete without that now. Traditions shift and get adapted. I can live with the mashup Bridgerton did. It is not unheard of in India itself. Having Simone be on screen, somebody who looks like me, I am blown away. There are a few instances where I could relate to her character Kate so much. When Eloise asks about her decision to be unmarried, the words that were spoken, I'm so grateful to the writers for writing this. I am 40 plus and never married. I know how it feels to just exist and your achievements rendered non-existent because of that one thing. The scene where Edmund dies, I was there when my father passed, and the first thing I did was call my friend and ask how I am going to tell Mom that Dad is not coming back. I barely got the chance to grieve as I had to be there for other family members. I still break into tears because I have held it for so long. It was 15 years ago, and I am sorry I started crying again. The way Violet describes it, I felt every word of it. The way Anthony behaves sometimes, I felt it. Thank you. Rekha from Bangalore, India.
Oh, thank you for that.
God,
that was
where's my
tissues?
Kleenex? Oh, jeez.
Okay. Next one said, "Hi, Rita and Michelle. The hold season 2 has over me is unreal. Can you please have a moment of appreciation for all the lingering looks, purposeful jaw clenches, and impassioned breathing? Never in my life did I think I would swoon over a simple gaze, let alone a wistful sigh, but here I am. Jonathan and Simone should win all the awards for their non-verbals alone. The way they communicate the complexities of their anguish and desires without even saying a word is just chef's kiss. Their chemistry sizzles through the screen and leaves me smouldering every time I watch. Pretty sure my TV was damn near on fire at times. I've seen people comment that they have no chemistry and those people cannot be watching the same show. If they are, they need to get their heads checked, because Jonathan and Simone have the best chemistry I've ever seen. Hand down, period, end of story. Just needed to share that. Thanks for all that you do. Can't wait to hear what you think about the season final. It's so good. Pam from Aukanawak. Wisconsin.
Hey, and we practiced this before we got started.
Oconomowoc.
It's Oconomowoc.
Okay, sorry.
Oconomowoc.
Indigenous communities everywhere cringing. I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness. Hey, Rita and Michelle. I do commend you on your self-control. I binged watched all the episodes from about 8:30 p.m. the night they were released. Note, I have had to rewatch the series. Like Rita, I have read the books, although I first read them 20-odd years ago. And like Rita, Francesca's story is my favorite.
Hello!
Hi.
Okay.
Most of my friends are like Michelle and came to the series having not read the books. I do miss being able to compare and contrast book versus TV series with them, but your podcast helps alleviate that. I thoroughly agree that the reoccurring themes throughout the TV series and the books are identity and place in the world, and this seems to build as the series progresses. Self-discovery and self-knowledge are particularly prominent in season 2. In terms of wig talk, I agree that Nicola Coughlan. Oh, whoops. Nicola Coughlan, Penelope, has had some wig outs. Yeah. But I feel there has been a distinct tonal softening of her wigs and her clothes in these last episodes as her confidence grows.
I mean,
yeah,
I can make an Instagram post about how much her hair changed just this season.
Yeah. Let's see. May I contribute some thoughts about the direction of season 3 without spoilers?
Please do.
Of course. My take on the TV series versus the book is the TV series takes the main plot lines and characters from the book and then uses them as a kind of crinoline beneath a dress. The book dress and the TV dress are unique, but the same structure sits underneath. I appreciate the beauty in both, but I have also found some TV series storylines frustrating, almost like padding. I keep wondering, when will they get to insert storyline from the book? I will try to be very careful and avoid any spoilers here, but to pick up on your discussion on the direction of season 3, my speculation is they will address the setup of Francesca's story.
We can only hope.
You wondered as to how they might draw out the Colin Penelope storyline. I think that's how they'll do it. Surely it has to be Benedict with a minor Francesca storyline and the Shondaland story threads. Each season so far starts with the Bridgerton sister making their debut, and whilst I can't remember the timeline or age gap between Eloise and Francesca, an exploration of her debut and the very important backstory before when he was wicked is feasible. Surely they have to give Francesca something to do. Mary Kay from Perth, Australia.
So in terms of the ages, Eloise and Francesca are about 18 months apart. Technically, Francesca should have been out this season, but Eloise's, I don't know what to call that. Her coming out was this year, so technically, I don't know okay, here's the thing. Daphne's debut was delayed a year, because she was 18 in the first season when she should have been out the year before. Eloise's was also delayed by a year, so maybe they're making Francesca also wait another year longer? I don't really get it.
Well, who knows? But, that it makes sense now that they've recast the actress playing Francesca to ensure that she's going to be available. But anyway, thank you for that intriguing note. It's kind of making me want to read Francesca's book, but I think Rita would have my head if I did that.
No, you're not allowed to look at it. Don't even no.
Fine. Not even gonna look at it. Nope. It does not exist. La 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 la.
The next email said, "Hello, Michelle and Rita. I'm such a big fan of your podcast. This is my first time actually reaching out to anyone, so please know how fun and talented you both are that I actually made a point to send this." Thank you. They continued, "I want to live in Kate and Anthony's love bubble. I'd love to see how the siblings react to how happy Anthony is now that Kate has broken down his walls. How much will his personality change now that he can let go a lot of what held him back before? I'd also love to see how Kate will adjust to her new role as Viscountess. Will she clash with Violet at all? Will Violet take her under her wing? How will her relationship be with each sibling individually and collectively? I'd love to see Lady Danbury be a prominent figure for Kate if Lady Mary is not around. They had some great scenes together." I know.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure if Edwina will be back, but love to see her approach her next Marriage March season with her newfound sense of self, since we saw so little of her potential as a character until the very end of the season. It would be great to see her with the prince, but if not, someone as equally adorable.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that she will have a story arc, and we would love to see Kate and Edwina develop a new sisterly relationship now that Kate doesn't need to fill that guardian role and Edwina accepts her brother-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
Since Kate is an unconventional female character, she's witty, sharp, athletic, etc., I'd love to see her help Anthony with his Viscount duties. No doubt that she is more than capable of balancing books and making decisions. I just hope they highlight her as a true partner for him in all shapes and forms. Also in the book, the married men avoid spending time with their wives, but Anthony actually wanted to spend time with his wife, so why not work together?
Yes.
I would love to see Kate Benedict's approach land management and crop rotation. Thrilling! They continued. Colin and Penelope look likely to be the next romantic focus. I would love to see a love interest for Penelope that sends Colin into a tailspin. She deserves to have the spotlight on her for once, and Colin is so dense, he needs something to wake his ass up. I hope they give her a glow up too with some new, non-yellow outfits and a new hairdo. She's so stunning in real life, and they really don't do her justice on this show. Hoping they give him more leading man moments so he gets his chance to shine. Also, I hope he never mentions Grease again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Grease is great. I don't think Colin is doing it justice. Like, he's made everyone hate it. Justice for Francesca. Will she ever have a more significant plotline? Her book and love interest are so hot, but it's also very isolating because she's away from London and her family for most of it. I hope they give the actress a chance to breathe new life into her character. I love Benedict so much. Fingers crossed he has more than just the snarky jokes and comments. He is great at it, and I love him for it, but it's making him pretty one-dimensional. For real. Hoping they have the masquerade ball so we can be introduced to Redacted, and they can flesh out Benedict more. Everyone! Guys! Spoilers! Anyway, I had a hard time cheering for Eloise in season 2. She became so one note with her disdain for society, but she never actually did anything but complain. She left her own brother's wedding. Exclamation, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. It made her seem selfish and hard to like. Not sure if they will start her arc with her love interest as well, because so many stories overlap in the next books, but would love to see it as well. I have a hard time seeing her with Theo because they look like siblings to me, but if they introduce Redacted for her, that would mean having to explain what happens with Redacted.
Oh, goodness. Oh, this is making me want to read the books.
You cannot.
I know.
Like, you can't actually even go near the book because it will say on the book, like, who they end up with. So don't even pick up the book in, like, Walmart or wherever you shop, okay? Because, like...
I promise I won't.
It kind of annoyed me that they did, like, Colin and Penelope's book. I was like, spoilers! But anyway. I love how the creators brought in South Asian elements to the show without hitting you over the head with them. It felt seamless and special to watch and made me feel connected being South Asian myself. I truly hope they will continue to do that with Kate moving forward, where it would fit or incorporate the cultural elements for other love interests depending on who gets cast. It's so beautiful to see representation in a period piece. And this is from Tracy.
Thanks,
you, Tracy. Well, look forward to an all-white season next year.
Jeez. They gotta spice it up somehow. Hi! I just want to say that I really enjoy your podcasts. I have been a Bridgerton stan since season 1 came out in that dreary year that was 2020. It was just the perfect escape that we all needed. I have since read the first 4 books in the series, and The Viscount Who Loved Me is my favorite of the series so far. Sorry, Rita, I have not yet read your favorite Bridgerton's novel, and honestly, I'm not sure I want to until her season is done. I'm fearful of disappointment.
I would, yes, encourage you not to do it until after it's aired, because the disappointment might be real.
Yeah. Oh, dear. God. I'm having Poldark flashbacks. Anyway, you asked that those of Indian heritage write in, and while I am American born, I am of South Asian descent. My parents were both born and raised in Bombay, Mumbai. The addition of the Sharma sisters to the Bridgerton landscape has been such a delight to see for a brown girl like me. Watching Kate put oil in her little sister's hair in episode 3, Kate making her chai, the haldi ceremony were all a delight to watch. There were even a few Bollywood references made. The scene with the bangles where Edwina says they look better belong to Kate is reminiscent of a scene from a Bollywood film involving another very messy love triangle. Overall, I think this show has done a good job of representing Indian culture. There have been discussions on how there have been references to both North and South Indian cultures, but I have no issues with it. I just loved Simone Ashley's performance as Kate, and am super excited that she is here to stay, at least for the near future. My only gripe with this season is not getting enough Canthony, lol. Simone and Jonathan are fire. Their chemistry is far superior to that of Simon and Daphne. Don't get me wrong, I love the Duke, but that relationship really didn't excite me the way Kate and Anthony do. Daphne was a girl with a man, Kate is a woman, and Anthony and is Anthony's equal in almost every way. Annie from Arizona.
Thank you, Annie.
Thanks, Annie.
Hello, Rita and Michelle. My name is Nicole, and I'm one of those people who you see watching your Instagram stories and liking your posts, but never emailing you. Laugh emoji. Oh, this was after I asked people to send in why they liked Eloise and Theo. So she said, in terms of Eloise and Theo, I love this character arc for Eloise. So far, we've seen her completely reject the idea of love because she thinks it means she'll be trapped in the society she so hates. But with Theo, she's realizing that she can have these feelings for someone else and still feel like an individual and like herself. She hasn't had to give anything up for Theo. I mean, I have some question marks about that. Like, what about her status? In fact, she's expanded her feminism. So while we now know she doesn't end up with him, I think this arc provides important growth. It's beginning to open her up to the possibility of love without having to sacrifice who she is. Please note, I also haven't read the book, so I don't have any allegiances to her future husbands. Crying emoji. Thanks for being so wonderful, Rita and Michelle. Heart.
Oh,
emoji. Thank you. I definitely see where you're coming from, because I think it was part of why they did it was to show, hey everyone, Eloise is capable of love, which is not something I ever had any doubts about, by the way. She was a teenage girl.
Yeah.
She was obviously reacting to society's expectations, and that's why she was saying, I don't want to get married.
Hi, Rita and Michelle. We finally finished Bridgerton last Friday. I have since binged just about everything I could find on this subject. I've been listening to a podcast review of the series, and they didn't like it. Quite at all. My partner recommending that I find somebody else's, and after a bit of searching, I discovered yours. It has brought me life. I sped my way through your season 1 recaps, but you haven't finished season 2 yet. So now I'm rewatching season 1 with your commentary, and it's just as absolutely wonderful as I had imagined it to be. If I make a recommendation when you go to season 2, dear God, please do a season 2 commentary. Would you maybe say, and play now or something, so we all know exactly when to hit play to sync everything up? Thank you for these podcasts. I can't say it enough. Thank you. Allison from Brooklyn, New York.
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn,
that famous
New York.
TV show, Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yes.
Thank you for
Thanks,
the
Allison.
suggestion, Allison. I always say in the show notes that you have to press play immediately, but as evidence, nobody reads the show notes. So I will now be adding a countdown before.
Awesome.
So yeah, thanks for the suggestion. Next email said, Michelle and Rita, thank you for all the hard work bringing us your wonderful podcasts. I could take another 8 episodes worth of thoughts and squeals and groans and delightfulness. You remind us that there's value in letting each episode sink in and find angles you often don't have time to consider when binging. You both have given me a greater appreciation for British historical dramas. I always learn something during your podcast because of the details and care you add to your analysis, and I can't stop staring at people's wigs now. Sorry.
Wig talk.
I know it's a little corny, but the multiracial fantasy of Bridgerton has been my entry point to the genre as a person of colour. And the way the show brought in shades of Bollywood, which I love, played a big part in how much I enjoyed this season too. Now I'm more interested in going down the rabbit hole. I need to dive into Poldark so I can watch alongside your commentary. Oh, girl. I'm not sure you should.
Oh, my. Maybe, like, Season 1, I would be Season 1 was awesome.
Season 2 was good. Season
2 was good.
Season 3 made me want to claw my eyeballs out of my head and, like, give them away.
Yeah, but if you wanted to do a season of watching and commentary, season 1, absolutely.
Yeah, everyone watch season 1, and then maybe stop. Then maybe stop.
Yeah, season 1 is just absolutely blessed. Oh,
I would take another season's worth of your podcast just on the perfection of Kate and Anthony. I feel like we have maybe like 12 more hours in us. Now about the actual show. I'm really impressed with season 2. More so because I didn't care for season 1 at all beyond the supporting characters, and I was skeptical of a season of Anthony since I thought he kind of sucked. But that's what makes this season brilliant. The depth of character given to Anthony and the powerhouse of the Sharma sisters, especially Kate, all brilliantly acted. I know there were complaints about not enough sex, but I'll take a rich, well-executed slow burn with a well-earned ending any day of the week. My season 2 greatest hits and misses for your entertainment, and I can't wait to hear yours. Okay, most underrated character. Hers was Alice Mondrich. It's a good thing she's not around a lot because she has too much sense for the rest of the town. Okay, Michelle.
Truth.
Michelle, who's your most underrated character?
I think Alice Mondrich is a great choice. I would say Newton.
Is he underrated?
Newton.
No, he doesn't really fly under the radar, does he? Mine would be Varley. I just love that actress.
Oh my God, Varley. She's so delightful. I love her.
Okay.
Oh gosh.
Most overrated character, Violet Bridgerton. She means well, but she's really inconsistent and gets in the way of stuff. I often find her annoying. I would agree with this. Violet, she's very realistic. But God, I want to smack her most of the season. I was just like, do something, Violet! I guess my pick is obviously Eloise because she annoys the ever-living shit out of me. Michelle? Overrated character.
I would go with Eloise, although I did have, and this is going to get me canceled, the Duke was swimming around my head.
That's not going to get you cancelled with me, but, okay, best non-Queen Charlotte wig. She said, I love staring into the bizarre...
Panopticon. I love that
Panopticon
word.
Is it's 5 a.m. Why am I saying Panopticon? Anyway, Panopticon of Cressida Cowper's wigs. I mean, Cressida's hair makes me scared.
It makes me feel sorry for whoever's having to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's some work. But when you think about it that way, somebody had to create those things for the show. And, the person that was responsible for putting all of those wigs together really deserves a round of applause just for how crazy they are.
My choice would definitely be Lady Danbury, because when you realise that Adjua has no hair, what are they clipping that shit onto? It's pretty impressive.
Ooh. Wig glue, baby. Lots and lots of wig glue.
It looks pretty seamless with... I know the hairline is terrible, but when she wiggles her eyebrows,
yes.
It just... I don't know how she's doing that. Anyway.
Worst
gosh. Wig / hair. Most of Penelope's wigs. I do not know, or whatever is happening with Kate's hair in the closing scene. Yeah, Penelope's was the worst.
It's her wigs just make me want to cry.
Eloise's are pretty bad as well. It always looks like it's slightly askew, which annoys me. MVP, Adjua Andour as Lady Danbury, just a delight in every scene. I mean, I would agree with that.
So good.
Horniest moment for Anthony when he tells Kate, "Say you do not care for me," and her eyes drift close as she leans into him. And for Kate, having Anthony on his knees for her in the gazebo. My choice would be Lily's. Just Lily's.
Lily's, yes. Lily's. Oh God, and the way he breathes her in as she's walking by.
That's so horny. Okay, missed opportunity. Mary Sharma, her rededication to Kate was too little too late for my tastes. I love that actress.
I understand why they did it, but, it seemed a little too pat.
Yeah. It was a bit heavy-handed as well. She can be there in person and be gone mentally. She doesn't need to actually not be in attendance for most of the season. Like, come on, people. Right. I think for me, missed opportunity will always be Giles. They had Giles and they barely used Giles.
Oh my god, it was like they just said, here are 3 lines. Say them and go.
Why hire Giles if you're not going to use him? Anyway, most painful moment, Kate having to take Edwina's gloves as Anthony proposed. I thought Anthony wouldn't be able to come back from that. Oh, God. Thanks for reminding me that. I actually think the scene at the end of the next episode is worse when Kate is like, you have to marry my sister, and Anthony looks like he's about to cry. Like that's worse for me.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
Sweetest moment. The country dance at the Harmony Ball.
Yep. Agree.
Do-over. I hated that most of the back half of the season, Kate had no one in her corner. It would have been interesting for Daphne to have discovered Kate in that closet at the wedding and then brought Anthony to... I would love to have seen Daphne and Kate interact more. That would have
been fantastic. Because that really would have worked well with the way the story arc was going.
Yeah, but then we wouldn't have got that funny moment where Anthony follows her. Then when he sees her and she's trying to get away, and he's like, "I'm fucking following you, Kate. You're not getting out of my hairs now."
And she's like, "This is my space. This is my space. Go away." But no, yeah, we need more Daphne and Kate action. I think that they're going to have a delightful friendship.
Okay, biggest plot hole: how Kate got home after she and Anthony got in the garden. Oh, so many.
Yep.
Biggest forgiveness. I know a lot of people don't care for the wedding episode, and it was probably the weakest, but I did appreciate it as part of the whole story. The Bollywood of it all won me over, and it had some truly lovely moments, including the Daphne and Anthony scene. The K3G song in the Haldi scene, Anthony helping Kate with the bangles, so Bollywood. The way the Sharmas ran from the altar, and not so much the kiss at the end, but the way they both took each other's hands so surely afterwards. It makes up for the what the fuckness of it for me. Again, the problem with that episode is not what was happening, it was the way it was stretched out for 70 minutes. Oh.
Yeah, that was painful.
Funniest moment, anything with the freeloading cake-loving dude who is clearly bad at both ring sizing and jewelry appraising. Yeah.
Yes.
Prudence Featherington is a runner-up. Look at me!
Hear, hear. Prudence Featherington, oh God. You know that actress had to have had so much fun playing that part.
God, I want a whole spin-off of her just trying to become singer. Most expendable storyline. A lot of the Eloise and Penelope stuff was boring, but it had a plot purpose. The Colin and Marina diversion was silly, but also kind of funny to me. So I think the Benedict side story, sadly, didn't have much of a purpose. Agreed. Where the fuck did that go? Why did we spend time with that? Best Kate and Anthony scene. The dancers. I mean, I like when they fall in the mud together. I watched that like 70 billion times. Like, I could watch that forever.
Oh my God, that is so much fun.
And the horse racing. You can't get... I mean, come on. The horse racing.
I mean, the first horse race where you see her do the big smile and a giggle.
Yes.
I mean, it was just like, yes, I'm having fun.
Kate giggling and then Anthony smiling. It's just like, that's so wholesome. She's finished with my favourite moment, Anthony referring to Kate as Katani Sharma. And favourite minor character I'd most like to see back, always Madame Delacroix. Sincerely, Evie, Washington, D.C.
Aw, thanks, Evie. Hello, ladies. Love your podcast. I couldn't resist, though, in sending you my random thoughts on this season. In Season 1, Episode 7, Oceans Apart, Violet tells Eloise, "If you don't feel truly ready, I shall not ask you to play pretend. Perhaps I have been rushing you. We need not hasten your coming out before you feel prepared." Why? Why is Eloise making her debut in Season 2? She's clearly not ready.
She's already had one season of not being out, even though she was supposed to. What are you going to do? Delay it, forever?
Anyhow, she continues. I think Violet is shirking her motherly duties because she is trying to respect Anthony as the Viscount and the head of the family. She really only seems to step up when Anthony is acting more irrational than usual. She truly does love her family and is struggling to know when to speak up. What do you think? This is also evident in her respect for the new Viscountess, as she made a point of pointing out that the new Viscountess would be in charge of the children and family. Rita, I would love for the right... Oh, go ahead. Let's see. Rita, I would love for the writers to somehow incorporate the Smythe-Smith musical.
Yes.
Aye.
Michelle, that's a spin-off from the Bridgerton series that you should absolutely read. No spoilers, but they're real fun. They're really funny. And they're mentioned briefly in the second book. So when you see the Smythe-Smith musical mentioned, get excited.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's see. I do not understand why Edwina is introduced as Miss Edwina Sharma and is referred to as such throughout the season, and yet Kate is always Miss Sharma. Is this to subvert Kate's feelings? It certainly doesn't help Kate's self-esteem.
No, this is just a naming custom of the time, actually. The eldest unmarried daughter was always called, Miss Blah, and the younger daughters would be Miss Michelle Blah, etc., etc. So next season, watch out for Eloise being referred to as Miss Bridgerton, and Francesca will be Miss Francesca Bridgerton. It's just a thing. I don't know why. Someone write in and explain it to me. But it always happens.
Let's see. In regards to the feel of the paper, you mentioned recognizing a watermark would make more sense. How many people in the Netflix Shondaland targeted demographic know what a watermark is?
In the shade.
Ouch. That is some serious shade. I think that is why the writers settled on the feel of the paper.
God, I have more respect for the viewers than you, apparently.
Yeah. Let's see. Finally, I think the reason for the Eloise Theo storyline is to show Eloise's sexual awakening and that she does actually care about her new place in society, which leads me to believe that she won't be as panicky in future episodes and will be less derisive of society in general.
I do not hold out hope.
If she gets a chance to, because she keeps running around and doing things that are going to get her thrown into more and more scandal.
Don't worry, there's never any consequences for Eloise or for anything she does.
What a charmed life you lead. Let's see. Thanks for all the hard work, ladies. Love your podcast. Oh, before I forget, given that you live on different continents, I am really interested in how you two ladies met, and why did you decide to start your podcasts? From Audrey. Well, that's a tale.
That's a Tumblr tale. Can you remember Tumblr? Remember when people used to be on Tumblr?
Oh my God.
What a time.
Oh, everything. Yeah, it was like we lived on Tumblr back then.
Now, I have deleted mine.
Yeah, oh, God. Let's see. I think we met, was it 2016?
Yeah, it was just before season 2 came out, wasn't it?
Just right before season 2 of Poldark came out. And I had been writing fanfic for Poldark for quite some time. Ridiculous amounts of it,
I loved your fanfics, by the way. Have I ever said? You were the only one producing fanfic at a certain point, so I was like, oh my God, she's updated. Thank God, I need content.
Oh gosh. But I was writing a bunch of fanfic, and Rita posted that she was wanting to start a Poldark podcast, and asked if anybody was interested to send her a DM. And so I said, yeah, that sounds like fun, thinking that it was only going to be like one episode. I thought that she was just looking to invite people to be on for like an episode.
Here we are, 7 years later or something.
But we started off with another partner, Delanda, who has since moved on.
Like a normal person.
Bless her heart. Yes. And has gotten advanced degrees and has moved on living her life. But we miss her.
I accidentally called her the other day, actually. I was like, sorry, but dialed you. She seems happy. Love her.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Miss you, Delonda. You're totally not listening to this because you have a normal life.
So yeah, that's how we met.
Okay.
Blame it all on Poldark.
Damn you, Poldark. But also, yay.
Yay for Poldark, yes.
Hey ladies, love the podcast. The two of you crack me up, and I have to admit to re-listening to many of your episodes. I'm sorry for this long email, but I have thoughts to share. I loved the romance in season 2. I'm a Canthony stan, and Bridgerton's biggest crime was not giving us nearly enough happy Canthony. Where's our wedding?
Yes!
Also, do you find it interesting that in both seasons of Bridgerton so far, only the male characters get flashbacks and extensive backstory? I felt there was such a disservice to Kate's character. Why didn't we delve into how her father or mother died? I have questions. Why didn't we get flashbacks to her life in India? Probably because they don't have the budget. Can you imagine?
Yeah. Yeah, seriously.
It was extra disappointing because as a dark-skinned woman of colour and an elder sister, I related to Kate so much. I was beyond excited when Simone Ashley was cast as the lead, only for them to give her less and less as the season went on. Now, here's my unpopular opinion. Brace yourselves, everyone. I find both Eloise and Penelope kind of insufferable. This is fairly, this is fair. That's fair. On Eloise, I won't roast her too much. Think you guys have that covered. Ha ha ha. You know your audience. I actually found Eloise more insufferable in season 1. Her attitude / motives were more confusing to me then. She was incredibly rude towards Daphne because her sister wanted marriage and children. Something that every woman in that period strived for and had no choice but to strive for. Also at the time, Eloise's hunt for Lady Whistledown was pointless. I preferred them giving her a personal motive this season. Okay, but that only happened in the last, episode. Episode. The rest of it was weird. Anyway, now I'll reluctantly give Eloise some credit. She has been called out several times on her privilege by Daphne, Penn, and Theo. Has she learned, though? Yeah. No. She did apologise to Daphne at the end of the first season, which was nice, but any more growth beyond that is asking for too much, isn't it? I mean, we can only hope that at some point she learns something eventually.
I would hope so.
Now for Penelope. I'm sorry, but fans of Penelope seem to have amnesia when it comes to what she did to Marina. This is and will always be Penelope's biggest crime in my eyes. People often say all Penn does is expose the rich and privileged. I'm sorry, Marina was a farm girl. Okay, so I have to interject now and correct this because I've seen a lot of people say this. Marina's not a farm girl. I don't know what everyone's talking about. She had a 4-figure dowry. She's in the 1%. She's a gentleman's daughter. I know Portia shades the shit out of her from being from the country, but that doesn't mean shit. That's just Portia being Portia. She's able to move around the ton and for all intents and purposes is better off financially than Penelope now, who has no dowry to speak of and has been involved in 17 scandals.
Yeah. I mean, I think, when you hear people saying, well, they're from the country. Well, think about Aubrey Hall. That's in the country. That's what we're talking about here. It's not like she was
toiling away on the farm,
Exactly. It's like, no, nope. She had a pretty decent life. And the only reason that she wound up in London with the Featheringtons was because the old Lord Featherington owed him money. Her dad money. That's the reason why.
She's not a farm girl. I'm just very... I got into this whole Twitter argument with somebody months ago who would not believe me when I was like, she's rich! She has a... I don't know how big her dowry is, but it's way bigger than any of the characters in Jane Austen's novel. She rich.
Yeah.
She rich.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Portia, the email continues, Portia literally slapped Marina across the face and told her to swindle a man or else. I love that for Portia. Somebody needed to slap some sense into her. I believe I advocate for slapping occasionally. When you're in a complete delusional state, you need some sense knocked into you sometimes. I sometimes slap myself, but anyway.
And Rita gets cancelled again.
Am I going to get cancelled for slapping myself? I don't slap other people.
No.
Only for Penelope to throw Marina, someone she called her friend, under the bus because of her crush on a boy who doesn't see her as a woman. Okay. We all know Penelope publicly exposed Marina because without the scandal, Colin would have been those babies' father no matter what. Insert, I'm not the stepfather, I'm the father who stepped up meme. I hate that meme. I hate it. Anyway, the worst part is Penelope does this all in secret so she can't be held accountable for her actions. And I still don't like the optics of a white character throwing a woman of colour to the wolves of British society. I know everybody cares about Louise and Penn mending things, but I think it should have been Penelope visiting Marina at Aubrey Hall. Okay, here's my thing about the whole Penelope-Marina dynamic. When people bring up that Marina is a biracial woman, I'm always like, okay, the optics of that in our world, terrible.
Mm-hmm.
But within the world of Bridgerton, where race has been washed away by the magical cleansing power of love, it's like they're equals. So it's like she did this to another white person.
Yeah.
So that's really a failing of the writers, in my opinion. It's like you can't just have people of color in here and have the same optics that you would want from a white person, a white character, a white Marina. It just looks different to how it actually is in the universe. I don't know if I'm expressing this clearly, but you know what I mean?
I think so.
There is a complete disconnect from the reality that we live in with theirs.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's one of the reasons why Bridgerton works so well, is because it is something, it's a fantasy. It's something that is taking all of the ugliness of
washed away
what we had at that time in British society at the time, and it's gone. It's just washed away. So no, I get what you're saying. I think that, the thing that I just keep thinking about is how in the hell Penelope is going to wind up walking all of this back to the point where
it's a huge mess. How is Colin ever going to be yes?
How is Colin ever going to forgive her for what she has done? Not only to Marina, but to his sister Eloise, to his family, his brother's now wife. She's got a lot to answer for.
Penelope didn't do anything to Kate.
No, about the whole wedding fiasco and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I was referring to.
Yeah. But the thing is, she didn't even write about the wedding. She was like, yeah, that happened. Oh, well, guess what, everyone? Eloise around town. One of the things I thought I noticed this season is that Penelope sort of rode back some of her viciousness from season 1. And then she was like, no, oh shit, gotta be really mean to Eloise now.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah.
This is too much of a mess.
God.
I don't know why we're... you can't untangle this. It's just everyone's horrible to each other and the end. Because it's not like Marina's innocent in this either. It's like, Eloise is terrible, Penelope is terrible, Marina tried to swindle a man. I think the only person that gets out of this scot-free is Colin. And it's like, Colin, what are you doing? Run far away, Colin. You don't need to be in this mess.
This is it is a big old sticky, nasty bucket of mess.
Anyway.
You can do better.
Yeah. Just run away, Colin. Go back to Greece. They've got good food.
Yeah, there you go.
Looking forward to Married Anthony subplot in season 3. Shondaland, I hope you heard me. And this is from Anne from Toronto.
Oh, gosh. Thanks, Anne. Let's see. I could not start your season 2 Fancast until you dropped all of them because I knew I'd been straight through them and would not want to wait. Oh, my God. So you actually waited until we finished the whole thing before you started watching?
Listening to us. So they probably watched the season.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, your fortitude is
it's rather less impressive when you realize what they did. It's like, oh, you just waited to listen to us? Yeah, that's reasonable. Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Okay. Anyway, needless to say, since the final episode went up, I have started, and you have not let me down. With all of your comments to the Keira Knightley Pride and Prejudice, we need both a recap podcast and a commentary for that movie. I believe we have.
Yeah.
Episode on Pride and Prejudice that we did during the COVID lockdown. Yeah.
I've got some great news for you, friend. I will link that podcast in the show notes.
Yes.
Please, can everybody actually look at the show notes? Do not DM me looking for links to things I have put in the show notes. I swear to God, I do not have all day to reply to everyone's messages because you're too lazy to look at the show notes.
Hey, now, don't be saying things like that to our dear audience now.
No, I have to be harsh because it's ruining my day. Please stop. Oh. Just look at the notes, people. They're there for a reason. Oh. Don't make me cry.
But yeah, you listen to that and watch the movie and you'll understand. I would die and it would be the best thing. Yes.
Bear in mind, Allison from Brooklyn, New York.
I think a commentary. I think a commentary for Pride and
it would just be screaming, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be screaming and sighing and oh my godding and aren't they beautiful and it would be ridiculous.
But bear in mind when we recorded that podcast, we were deep in lockdown, and I may sound unhinged now, but it was worse back then. Like, if you listen to our Sanditon podcast, I was just like a mess for Theo James because I hadn't seen a man in months. It was dark times. Please bear that in mind when you listen. Like, the context is important. Rita and Michelle, thank you for the wonderful pod. I'd love to hear your predictions on the season 3 Anthony storyline. I don't know. I just hope that they exist, babes. Just like
I hope that they're not just throwing like little bones and to pop in and make a little appearance here or there. I hope that there's something.
I would love for Kate to yell at Penelope or something. Just be like, you made Eloise cry.
How could you do that to Colin? Oh yeah. I mean,
Stray thoughts. Similar to the Anthony wet shirt homage to Colin Firth, Anthony's final dance alone on the dance floor felt like a homage to Keira Knightley, Matthew McFadden's dance. Oh God, don't even.
Oh God.
That's why we're not recording a commentary track, because you just said that and we both went. That's the best dance.
I gotta tell you, I have lost count of the number of times I've watched that dance sequence.
The music is like permanently imprinted on my head.
The music.
The way they stare at each other at the end. Oh my God.
Yes, and they're doing that little kind of swirly around one another.
More people should fight during dancing. Like, it's just hot.
Oh, okay. Sorry, we digress. See, you mentioned that movie, and
we're going to be here all year because we can't shut up. Anyway, despite the lengthy convo between Anthony and Edwina about her love of reading, with whom does Anthony tenderly share his father's most treasured possessions in the library? Kate, of course. I feel bad for Edwina. She would have loved that library. Did she ever get to go in it? No, because she's pretending to be stupid so she could get a man. Anyway, I'm optimistic about the new showrunner Jess Brownell, knowing she was a writer for episode 8 and 4. It seems most viewers were underwhelmed with the season 2's side plots and the amount of time devoted to them, so I'm hopeful the show will correct course in season 3. It has potential to be a killer, no filler, with Pollen, Anthony, and Francesca. Guys, please don't get my hopes up. I feel like everyone's writing in like, Francesca! No, let's just go in with the minimum, like, the floor is where my expectations should be at, okay? And that was from Laura from Denver, Colorado.
I've really enjoyed your podcasts, as no one I know in real life is watching Bridgerton or reading the books. Or maybe it's just that they aren't admitting to it.
That must be it.
I've also enjoyed the comments other people have made on your Instagram posts. I've thought a lot about the differences between the book and this season, and I'm wondering what Michelle is expecting, because Rita and everyone else has commented on the departures. I would also like to hear Rita opine on whether it works or not. My personal opinion is, of course it works. The book and the TV show have different needs and rules, quote unquote. The one thing I have to get off my chest is that the Lady Whistledown stuff has gotten absolutely absurd. And I am really hoping she goes away and never comes back after season 3. It will be interesting to see how Penelope lands this plane next season, but seriously, no more after that. Yes,
we're tired of this.
I have a feeling it's going to have to come crashing down by the end of season 3. Do you think Benedict will be season 4? And what do you think we'll see next season in getting him ready to finally launch? Probably enough questions. Thank you, and I look forward to the season recap and the treatment of the book. Christine. Thank you.
I think I'll go into my feelings on the book versus the show in the season roundup, because I haven't read the book in so long. I want to reread it. And I hope Benedict will have a season. Do I want it to be season 4? I kind of think Eloise needs a season, to be honest. I'm at the point where I'm like, can we resolve these things? We can move on. Like, this feels like it needs resolution, because if it's hanging on for like a few more seasons, I might not make it psychologically, Michelle. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
Yeah. And next one. Hi, Rita and Michelle. May I say I love your Bridgerton podcast, most especially your intense dissection of each episode. I eagerly look forward to these wonderful tidbits you share with us binge watchers, which us binge watchers overlook in our haste to view the entire season. It makes for a much more satisfying rewatch of the show, albeit at a slower pace. There's a lesson in delayed gratification there for me. I wanted to add some trivia I recently discovered. You mentioned Polly Walker as Jane Fairfax in the 1996 adaptation of Emma. Coincidentally, Lorraine Ashbourne, who plays her housekeeper Varley, was Mrs. Fairfax in the 2006 BBC version of Jane Eyre. I bet
she's amazing.
And this is part of why I loved Varley. I was like, this is perfect. Mrs. Fairfax and Miss Jane Fairfax.
Yes.
Smiley face. I love it. Anyway, methinks I watch too much period dramas.
There's no such thing.
There's no such thing. You can't watch too many. They're not making enough, quite frankly, because I need more. I'm so waiting on tenterhooks for your book dissection podcast. Cannot wait. Kindest from your fan in Australia, Jade. Thank you, Jade. And also,
Thanks,
love that we have an audience that can talk to us about 2006 Jane Eyre, because that is the best one. We also did a podcast about that.
Yeah, we did.
Go listen.
Yes. Hello, lovely ladies. I have a few thoughts on this season, starting with an unpopular opinion that I'd like to share. I like season 1 better than season 2. What? I know. But hear me out. I totally agree that the characters had more depth this season. but I think overall the plot worked better with season 1. This season seemed to be inserting more drama for the sake of drama. For example, the love triangle did not need to be a thing, and yet they dragged it out across almost every episode in the season. Don't get me wrong, this show needs conflict. It thrives on it. But it seems like the writers were forcing in some scenes and storylines that didn't fit. They changed the focus of the story a lot too, from the characters learning how to allow themselves happiness and grow their self-confidence to characters having to dig themselves out of a hole that kept getting deeper and deeper. At some point, I got bored and just wanted the tension to resolve. Season 1 seemed cleaner in that way to me. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Totally.
Absolutely. Yeah, we love you. Yes.
I haven't read Kate and Anthony's book yet. Does that focus more on their character growth instead of the ton drama?
Yep.
If so, maybe I'll like it more.
Yes. Join us for book club. You're going to love it.
Yes! That being said, I love the Pall Mall scene. That's more of a popular opinion, but I really did love it. It encapsulated what I enjoy most about Bridgerton: the love story, the banter among characters, the bright color schemes and beautiful costumes, and of course the dynamics of the Bridgerton siblings. The vibes were lighthearted and fun, and it was my favorite scene in the whole season, possibly in both seasons, although my heart always melts when Daphne and Simon dance and giggle with pure joy in the shock and delight episode. Thank you, Rita and Michelle, for accompanying me on another wonderful Bridgerton journey. I look forward to next season and beyond. Yours truly, Nicole from Connecticut. Thanks! Oh, P.S. I've heard a lot of people from Connecticut right in this season. Represent!
I love that I've learned how to say Connecticut properly. Like,
there
great.
You go.
Emoji.
Yes.
Next email. Hello, amazing women. I'm obsessed with your podcast. I found out about it a couple weeks ago, and it's the best part of my drive to work every day. The traffic in LA is stupid and stressful, but you guys make my life better by talking about my favorite show and being funny AF. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
You guys have amazing opinions, and I agree with pretty much all of them. So you're clearly smart as well.
Yes.
I'm a book reader like Rita. I found out about the series when I was in high school a decade ago. This second season was my favorite because the book was one of my favorites. Is it just me, or is this season way more romantic and delightful to watch than the last one? Well, you're going to have conversation with our previous email. You two can find it out in the comments. I think The Duke and I is kind of a boring book, and the things Daphne did make me so uncomfortable that I could not rewatch the season 1 again. But now with Canthony, I am obsessed. I watch it every day. The story is so good, even though it's very different from the book. Now I have both, and I'm very happy. Listening to what you guys commented on the episodes made me love the show even more. How did I miss so many details before? You were binging, baby. And the bee count, I love it. Thank you for the hard work. I believe we all heard about season 3 being about Colin and Penelope. Their book is my favourite, but I'm not sure about Colin in the show. He acts like a boy, and I really want him to find out that Penelope heard him saying that he would never marry her. He needs to feel bad about it. I wanted to punch him in the books and in the show. No one should hurt my sweet Penelope. I heard you guys considered doing a Sanditon podcast. Please do it. I'll be your number 1 fan. I have no one to talk about it, and it would be amazing to hear what you guys think. Anyway, sorry for the long email. I love your work. You're both amazing. Love, Karen from LA. Thank you for calling us amazing like 7 times.
Yes. It's like I'm having a hard time holding my head up. Oh, gosh.
Sanditon is definitely happening. Michelle was like very insistent that we do it, and then I watched the first episode of season 2 and I was like, yep, that's a good decision.
Mm-hmm. Gotta watch it. So be sure to check our back catalog. We do have season 1 up, so feel free to give that a listen to get prepped for it.
Brace yourself for how horny I was. I think about that like a lot.
Yeah, well, you know, Theo James.
He was in leather trousers, okay?
Yeah. It was a thing, man. Okay, all right. Focus, Michelle. Hey, ladies. Hey, ladies. Sorry.
Hey, ladies.
I've really been enjoying your podcasts and have already begun my rewatch of the episodes, followed by a re-listen of each post-episode analysis. I agreed with what you said in the finale podcast about how they did too good a job at getting us invested in Kate and Anthony. I watched season 1 and enjoyed it, but I didn't find myself drawn to watching it again, nor was I as invested in Daphne or Simon as much. I did wonder if the absence of Simon would be felt, and while I am sure that there could have been some great scenes with Simon, perhaps with him delivering some profound advice to Anthony as we saw with Daphne and Anthony scenes, they did a great job keeping us focused on Kate and Anthony's story. So much so that I'm not sure what I will do with my time now that your season 2 podcast is coming to an end, and there's no one else with whom I could spend hours overanalyzing fictional characters with.
Come watch Sanditon with us. Yay!
Exactly. One thought I had about why they decided not to go with Benedict's story next is that it might be too much of a Cinderella story and not as appealing. However, every time the Cowpers were on screen, it gave me so much evil stepmother, stepsister vibes, and wonder if they introduced Benedict's love interest as somehow being connected to the Cowpers somehow.
Okay, I have some information that I have to drop down. Season 1, they released the shooting script for the pilot episode, and one of the characters on screen, Cressida's mother, who's not been given a full name yet, her name was mentioned in the script, and it is the same name as the evil stepmother in Benedict's book. So, I think they may have changed their minds since then, because suddenly Cressida has a dad again. He appeared out of nowhere. Where was he in season 1? So they may have completely wrote that back. But I think that's why you're getting evil stepmother, stepsister vibes, because they created it in season 1 and then are now like, oh fuck, we're not going to do that now. Anyway,
man.
continue.
Ooh. Okay. All right. Since we have to wait another year for season 3, make haste! And we've milked the overanalyzing of season 2 for all it's worth. I request the services of Rita the Clairvoyant. Rita, you've correctly predicted so many plot lines this season. I wanted to get yours and Michelle's thoughts on a few possible season 3 plot lines.
I'll work my magic.
What do you think Anthony's subplot story will be? There's always a need of some sort of scandal or conflict. Do you think they will show a bit of the Tun's reaction to the Anthony and Kate marriage, which I imagine was a small, intimate Aubrey Hall affair with Kate in traditional Indian attire, but this time the interruption is Newton running away with the rings because, just like his mom, Anthony's vexed him too. Newton!
Oh, that's so cute.
Or they might explore the challenges of Kate becoming Viscountess through her own trauma flashbacks. Anthony has been quite an authoritarian to date, so he might find it difficult doing things now as a partnership. I would love to see Eloise confide in Kate about the Penn situation and helping her find a way to forgive Penn. Perhaps a callback to episode 3 and reminding Eloise about how they have all felt they were at the edge of society at some stage. That would be great. That would be
beautiful. It might make me like Eloise, because the most I liked Eloise was when she was with Kate.
Yeah, the scene where they're on there's like the porch and Kate's made her tea. Yeah. I love that scene. That was beautiful.
More of that, please.
Yes. And, of course, some bonding between the Viscountesses and Kate being fully embraced as a part of the family after feeling so alone for so long. Imagine if we get a scene of Kate and Anthony riding together in the countryside, just being happy. They might end the season with Kate being pregnant with their first child and Anthony being too protective over her.
Look Okay, well, you've destroyed us. Thank you. We have we have to finish the podcast, Michelle.
Oh, this is making the fanficky juices flow again. We'll see. Anyway, Colin. I feel the writers need to perform a miracle, with Colin, as right now, it's so hard for me to find him engaging and ready to be a romantic lead.
Hey, they worked their magic on Anthony. They can do it to Colin. I have faith.
Yes, indeed. Penn did some questionable things this season, but they have definitely set her up as a complex character with room for growth. Yep. As a side, you've used the Batman Bruce Wayne analogy to describe Penn Whistledown, but the way they completely blew things up for Penn in season 2, it could easily be Penn's villain origin story in the Bridgerverse.
Can I just say that it's very possible to look. I have always viewed Batman as a villain. This is a vigilante, rich douchebag who comes along and beats up a bunch of impoverished people in his community to make himself feel better about the trauma inflicted upon him as a child. I just go to therapy, Batman. Sizzling hot Batman takes. That's what you come here for.
Oh, you're killing me. Let me see. There will undoubtedly be some angst. Some? When Colin finds out about Penn being whistled down? Some? Oh my gosh. Yeah, just a bit. I hope he doesn't find out through Eloise. Yeah. But it would be too unbelievable for him to figure it out on his own, given how clueless he's been to date.
That's so...
Ouch!
Oh, poor Colin. I want to just, cuddle Colin up and protect him from this fandom sometimes. He's just beautiful and dumb. Leave my poor dumb husband alone.
He's a sweet boy, isn't he? Oh my gosh. Perhaps Eloise could be the one who helps Colin forgive Penn after they have made themselves up, and admit his true feelings for Penn. It would be a nice wrap-up to the Colin, Eloise, Penn story for season 3. Portia and the Bridgertons.
Yes.
What do you think Portia's feelings would be about Penn marrying into the Bridgerton family?
Confused.
In season 2, we saw that Portia resented how her family was not seen as respectable as the Bridgertons by the ton, but at the same time, perhaps begrudgingly, being very conscious about not getting on their bad side.
She's smart. She is the smartest person on this show, everyone. Please.
She's a crafty
Everyone
one.
put some respect on Portia's name because she is outwitting everyone. She's playing 3D chess.
Yes. Indeed. Let's see. There seems to be some underlying jealousy towards the Bridgertons. Oh, yeah. At one stage, she specifically told Jack to take everyone's money except the Bridgertons. It was only after Eloise's scandal that she gave Jack the green light, quite smugly, to close the deal with Colin. Also, she was basically gloating post-wedding scandal when she saw them at Promenade. Do you think she would be happy about one of her daughters marrying into the Bridgerton family? How would Portia and Violet get along as mother-in-laws? Oh, dear God.
I'm more excited about Portia joining the Bridgerton family than I am for Penelope. This is like Portia's wildest dreams are coming through, and it's through the child she hates the most. It's hilarious.
Exactly.
It's delicious. She's gonna finally have to suck up.
I love it. Oh my gosh. Finally, if season 4 is going to be Eloise's season, how do you think they might set it up in season 3? I felt they made efforts to include Sir Philip in season 2.
I should not have included
Even though that whole Marina Collin storyline could have been left out completely. Perhaps Eloise visits Marina with the intent to tell her about Penn.
Michelle, stop reading!
And while she... What?
Thank you, TP, for that beautiful email. We're not reading the rest of this for potential spoilers. Okay!
Oh, okay. All right. I'm glad I was kind of not really...
Okay, sorry, that was my bad. I should have redacted all of that.
Okay.
Hello, Risha and Michelle. Thanks so much for your podcast. I just wanted to write in to perhaps add to your season 2 wrap up. Just heard you talk about the prospects of Daphne not being included next season because there's no Simon. You asked, what can you do? Well, they either have to get Reggae back or they have to recast the role. You can't just get Reggae back against his will, sister.
Whoa.
Like, come on. If he doesn't want to be there, he doesn't want to be there. You can't make him. I'm one of the fans of the show who loved the second season, but also believes the show greatly missed Reggae. I won't compare the seasons, but I will say there would have been no interest in season 2 had season 1 not been so charismatic, in large part because of what Reggae brought to the role of Simon Bassett and the Duke of Hastings. Agreed. They've proven they can do a great show without Reggae, but they cannot, in my opinion, do so without the Duke and Daphne, the characters in subsequent seasons, especially when Anthony and Kate will return. It's time to recast if the original actor won't return, and they can't lose Phoebe. I'm hoping that's just not true. God, can you imagine the outcry if they recast him?
Oh, are you kidding?
Shonda would not be able to leave her house. Like, her life would be in jeopardy.
Yeah.
Also, one other thing. On the decision to take the stories of the Bridgerton children out of order and centre on Colin and Penelope next season. I'm not a book reader, but I am a person who watched season 1 more times than I can count to survive the intensities of life during 2020 and 2021. As that person, I say that the TV screenwriters have to find a way to combine some of the stories. For instance, Eloise was my favourite Bridgerton in season 1. In season 2, after watching her, I'm not good at society, I don't want to do this, mama, I'm not Daphne shtick. I was like, she's so rude to her mother, grow up. This is because, for me, who's watched season 1 umpteen times, it's tired. Same with Penelope's mealy-mouthed actions when she comes near Colin.
Yeah, she does
Brutal,
kind of devolve. She does kind of devolve into the.
I'm like, Penelope, can you just be yourself around him? Maybe he'd be attracted to that. Ugh.
Exactly.
Penelope, it's time to be yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think their ages or their characters can go on for 8 seasons in status. Combine Colin and Eloise's books. Combine Benedict with Francesca's. No, thank you! No, we are not. No, thank you. We're not putting my least favourite book with my favourite book. No. Anyway, combine the Littles, Gregory and Hyacinth. Would that work? Thank you again, Tammy. It might work. I don't want it. Please keep Benedict and Francesca far apart. No, thank you. Also, I think we need time for Gregory and Hyacinth to grow up.
Yeah. They are still wee, even though they did seem to make a pretty big leap between the 2 seasons. They've still got a long way to go.
We don't want to watch them having sex, everyone.
No!
Come on.
No, they're babies. They're babies. Let's see. Hi, ladies. Thanks for this season of podcast episodes. I'm already worried. What are we going to do once you're done with all the summary and book club? The thought upsets me almost as much as the end of actual Bridgerton seasons. Now, and smiley face emoji. Now that you watched the whole season and there are no spoilers, I wanted to share some overall impressions of Anthony's season. On the first watch of this season, I must admit I was very disappointed. I felt such disappointment at how utterly different the season was. While we all expected a different couple and were ready for this season to be different in that way, season 1 was something that could be described as modern and steamy take at the Regency era. Season 2 I'd describe as a modern and needless drama-infused take at the Regency era.
Well, don't hold back.
Yes. I just cannot get over the fact that we didn't get to explore Kate and Anthony's relationship, and that in true "and they lived happily ever after" fashion, the 2 characters get together exactly 5 minutes before credits of the last episode start rolling, which is just not enough time. Agreed. Add to that, in my opinion, they took this whole triangle way too far with Edwina and Anthony, only breaking up after already standing at the altar together. Agreed.
Yeah.
Admittedly, I don't have a sister, but realizing that you're at the altar with a guy your sister is actually in love with surely is in the region of, I might never talk to you again kind of a move.
Yeah.
Yep. Kate had every opportunity to tell Edwina at so many earlier steps. And in fact, in episode 4 at the end, after she has a talk with Lady Danbury, who says, tell her how you feel about the Viscount. And then Kate says to Edwina that she needs to tell her something. I took this to mean that Kate intended to tell Edwina how confused she was feeling about her own feelings towards the Viscount. So the fact that she got interrupted in the moment does not actually excuse why she didn't tell Edwina later.
Nope.
It's a toxic lie. Yeah. It's a toxic lie that I wouldn't be so quick to forgive, even if there was an accident of said sisters afterwards. In my opinion, this season approaches the betrayal and lying by lie of omission and taking it so freaking far that we all end up at the altar in such a normalized way, we might forget to stop and think for a moment of the fact that Kate never actually told Edwina of her feelings. While at Aubrey Hall, she was about to talk to her, so we can't really put it down to Kate was just lying to herself lying. The show tried to sell us later. Kate never comes clean of her own accord, and it's Edwina that finally realizes what's going on. But we can move on from that without, in my opinion, a satisfying resolution. Just like with that Daphne scene.
I mean, I agree with all of this, but this is another flaw of having the wedding episode drag out for so long.
Yeah.
They needed more time spent on this, but they spent it on Edwina running around going, I'm going to make my choice eventually.
Yes. I much prefer the book setup for Edwina never really getting far with Anthony and Kate getting together with Anthony way sooner in order to explore their relationship while they were already together. Meanwhile, what we got was a drama deserving of Grey's Anatomy, which, don't get me wrong, I love and watch every week. But that's where I often find myself shouting at the screen, just tell him already! And much like in Grey's, which admittedly both originate from Shondaland, the whole concept of drama is based on one person not saying something that she clearly should have said and communicated, if not with Anthony, then definitely with Edwina. All in all, I will be rewatching this season, but the fact we don't get enough Kate and Anthony together, coupled with a hint of bad taste that it leaves in my mouth and mind to watch how far they took the whole triangle thing, leaves me still a bit disappointed. It was just not what I was expecting. And yes, I heard you say both Kate and Anthony's characters are coming back. And I don't trust the showrunners to keep exploring and showing us this relationship develop enough while it will be someone else's season.
There's instincts are something that I agree with.
Yeah. I am very much looking forward to hear any thoughts you have on comparing season 1 and 2, particularly since you get a chance to rewatch them back to back. And I am wondering what approach the creators will take on season 3. I know as creators they are put basically between a rock and a hard place because no matter what they do, somebody won't like it. So I appreciate that. And at the same time, I am hoping that the next season, Colin and Penelope will not get together 5 minutes before the credits roll. Let me be clear, not even 15 minutes before the credits will do. If I dare to dream, I would like to see them together for a few episodes so that we can walk away from the cliche of, and they lived happily ever after, and stay clear of not showing the relationship itself after the I do. That's my wish. What's yours, dear ladies? If you could wish for something for season 3, what would it be? Sending warm hugs, Kat from Warsaw, Poland. Thank you.
Michelle, what's your wish? What is your wish?
My wish is for them to think long and hard about how they're going to wind up getting us through this storyline. I don't want it. I don't want them to do a disservice to it. You know what I mean?
You don't want them to fumble the landing like they did with the Daphne and the Edwina and Kate thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's like, yeah, they've got a mess that they've got to clean up, but, don't throw in a whole bunch of nonsensical bullshit. Let's, focus on how you're going to navigate these folks through these betrayals that have happened. And then, once you've built that structure, then play around with whatever side stories you want to do. But make sure that you've got that really well structured before you start throwing in, more drama that we really don't need.
I hear that, but then I'm like, the structural problems, that's not a failure of the side plots. I don't think that is the reason they didn't have enough time to resolve that. I think it's just a structural problem of the show that they wait until like the end of the season to have this big conflict when it needs more episodes to resolve. Like, they needed to have the Daphne Simon betrayal like resolve earlier in the episode, because it felt very much like we're having a ball and now we're okay.
Yeah.
That's a problem with the central storyline that they need to address, because it's happened 2 seasons in a row now, and they need to like focus on how you're going to structure your storylines better, and don't have it rushed at the end. My wish for season 3 is that Lady Whistledown is exposed, and we don't have to have Lady Whistledown in season 4. I want it to end.
Yes,
I want it to end. I'm tired of the storyline, but I'm also tired of how this show is now framed in publicity as like the Lady Whistledown show, when it's like, no, actually, it's supposed to be about the Bridgerton siblings, actually, thank you. It's not just all about a gossip rag. Like, can we stop trying to frame it as Gossip Girl? Like, it was a cute way to get people interested in season 1, but it was just a hook, and it's now taken over the whole of the show.
Yeah.
Anyway, next. One said, hi ladies, I've loved this season of Bridgerton. I really enjoyed season 1, but it didn't cause the same level of obsession season 2 did. I swear it broke Netflix's viewing records because people like me kept rewatching almost daily for weeks after it was released. The chemistry between the 2 main characters is incredible. They were obviously beautiful to look at, but it was more than that. Their interactions were always so charged, it was very compelling viewing. The slow burn across the episodes was infuriating, but also strangely rewarding. Their story completely overshadowed the other subplots, at least it did for me, and I'm now worried that I won't really care about Pollen in the next season. I'll just be watching out for Kate and Anthony scenes, even if they're just in the background. I'll be looking out for Newton, like, okay.
Yes.
I know you ladies don't have much time for Benedict, but I found him quite funny this season. In episode 4, I love how his face breaks into massive grins, whilst watching Anthony's reaction when Kate says, "Why would you assume I had any trouble managing, my lord?" His pure joy at seeing his older brother, Mr. Know-it-all himself, floundering and flustered by Kate's words. And then he immediately serious again the moment Anthony turns to him in disbelief. He's fantastic. I want him to find his happiness. I really hope that they introduce Redacted.
I slammed my eyes shut.
Don't think this is much of a spoiler for Michelle Benedict's love interest is called Redacted. I mean, obviously, the name of the love interest isn't that big of a deal because she hasn't been introduced yet. But I still don't want you to know because I'm annoying.
You tell me when it's safe.
It's safe. I was so moved by Kate and Anthony's final dance at the Featherington Ball. Her eyes were so expressive. At that moment, they both truly thought that was it. She's going to leave for India. They might very well never see each other again. It was so poignant and beautifully portrayed by both actors. All hail the Queen for mentioning her nephew. I didn't see that coming, and I really enjoyed the sulky look on Cressida's face. I texted you when that scene happened, like, oh my god!
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to say,
yes,
for those of you guys that watch Derry Girls, did you know that Kieran, the guy that works in the photo shop and also is in a few episodes of season 3, he's in fact the actor that played awful Nigel Berwick in season 1. Well, this is a spoiler, but Shh, this isn't a Derry Girls podcast. Kieran got engaged to Aunt Sarah accidentally in season 3 of Derry Girls, and I was like, this is 2 separate shows where he's presumed he's engaged to someone. Oh, this poor actor. I was trying to figure out why he was familiar, and when I looked him up, I was floored. I just assumed the actor was English, but no, he's from County Waterford in Ireland. These people are so talented with their accents. Also, he's not the only Derry Girls crossover. Theo, the actor that plays Theo, he was in season 2 of Derry Girls. He stood up Erin, little bitch. They were going to go to prom together, and he said he'd go with her, and then he never showed up. Like, what classic Theo move, you know? Anyway, everyone watch Derry Girls. It's one of the best shows. Ladies, thank you so much for your podcast. It's been so wonderful to have like-minded people chatting about a show I love, and I'm including all the other people who've written in with their emails in this too. You've been a tonic to me each week, and I don't know what I'm going to listen to on my drive to work now. I really wish I could watch Sanditon in Ireland, but I don't get ITV. I may have to go old school and buy the DVD box set whenever it's out. Apologies, this email is a little all over the place. Take care, and look forward to listening to whatever you decide to podcast about next. All the best, Mary from Ireland. Thank you, Mary. Heads up about Sanditon.
Thank you, Mary.
It's not on ITV anyway. You have to get BritBox, the little channel on Amazon Prime, to watch it. It's okay. Yeah, ITV cancelled it, and it was picked up by BritBox.
Okay. Ladies, first off, thank you. I may enjoy your recaps even more than the episodes themselves.
That's insane to me, but okay.
I am very hopeful there will be plenty of sexy Canthony next season. Jess Brownwell wrote episode 8, and she's taking over as showrunner for seasons 3 and 4. She seems very invested in this couple, and I am desperate to see more. It was nice to see all 3 of the moms step up in episode 8. Portia, Mary, and Violet finally take the reins. I wonder if they would have ever gotten there if Violet hadn't opened up finally. You are 1,000,000% correct. Episode 6, Edwina chose herself. Episode 7, Anthony chose Kate. And happily, in episode 8, Kate chose Anthony. And the people rejoiced.
Huzzah!
Yes. My question is, where do you think they go for 6 months on their honeymoon? I am a crazy person and did a deep dive. They couldn't have gone to India. It took 6 months one way during Regency period, having to travel all the way around. No Suez Canal yet. And if they went to the continent, the Napoleonic Wars were afoot. Weren't we just talking about this?
Yeah. I love that these are our people. They also notice this shit.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Dying to know what you think. I am so glad the series moved away from the book, with Kate thinking she wasn't beautiful and Anthony obsessed about his early death. Johnny and Simone are so popular. I am trusting they will be right up there next season. We all deserve it. You ladies killed it all season, and I am just going to have to rewatch it and re-listen to your podcast over and over again. They start filming again on June 6th, and I am here for it. Cheers, Erin in California.
Thanks.
Yay!
Thanks,
Thank you. And yeah, literally, we were talking about the fact that trying to speculate where they had gone on their honeymoon and came to the same conclusions that you did.
We have another email about that later on, by the way. So.
Yes.
Dear Rita and Michelle, this is my first time writing to a podcast host, smiley face. I loved listening to yours these last few weeks and wanted to reach out and first say thanks for your fun commentary and episode analysis. I binged season 2 when it came out, like so much more than the first. Felt like a different show. And discovering your podcast gave me a good excuse to rewatch all the episodes.
Excellent.
I finished listening to your last one and agree on all points. Yay to mums coming through for their emotionally damaged kids. And yay for Penelope standing up to Eloise. Yay for Canthony, though I would have loved seeing more of them after their big declaration. The ending felt a little rushed. Wonder if Edwina was a bridesmaid at their wedding. Oh my god.
Oh my lord.
That would no.
That would be a bridge too far.
Edwina deserves better than that. Oh, poor Edwina.
Yeah. Too soon. I'm
looking forward to season 3, though. I wonder how they'll deal with the whole Eloise knows who Lady Whistledown is plot. I guess she'll be the one to tell Colin, and he's so oblivious to Penelope as he was in the last 2 seasons. Or it'll probably take 5 episodes and a botched wedding for him to get the gist. Winky face. Oh, you joke, but it
Lord.
could happen.
Yeah.
I'm personally rooting for a Penelope-Portia partnership at the beginning of season 3, where Pen would let her in on her side hustle to help out the family financially, and also to capitalise on Portia's great resentment towards the Ton and get a few more juicy stories to tell. I would love that, and I think people underestimate how similar Penelope and Portia are as people. It's why I love them both. They're both sneaky bitches, and I love that. I'm also hoping Benedict becomes the Ton's new therapist, as it could make for some fun viewing. I'm basing this off the studio space a la King's Speech at the end of the last episode. Or anything else, really. Let's give the man something to do. Please, can we give him a storyline?
Yes. Yes.
This is way longer than I had anticipated. Sorry, thanks again for letting us participate in your discussions about the show. Take care, Margot. I love when people apologise for how long their emails are. Usually some of the shorter ones.
Oh, thank you, Margot. Hi, Rita and Michelle. I discovered your podcast only at the beginning of season 2 of Bridgerton, and it is by far the best podcast on Bridgerton there is.
If we do say so ourselves. Wink, wink.
Thank you. I really like listening to your opinions and often agree with them completely. However, as I just finished your most recent episode, there's something about Cantonese honeymoon you might not have considered. Although there is no definitive timeline for the show, Napoleon was first defeated in spring 1814 and only got back to France in March 1815.
Yeah.
So it could have been absolutely possible for them to honeymoon at the continent as the war had paused. I already look forward to your next podcast. All the best from Austria, Elizabeth.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
And I was immediately like, after we posted the last podcast where we discussed this, I was like, but what about that time he was on that fucking island? And you are correct. Yes. Elba.
Yes, he was in Elba.
But the thing is, like, the pause of the war was for, like, basically when they were away. So maybe, but also, would you go to the continent during, like, it's like if they announced Ukraine was suddenly not at war anymore, would you be like, you know what, let's go pop down to Kiev and just have a good stroll around?
Probably not.
It doesn't make any actual fucking sense, does it? One of the other things that annoys me, okay, this is a very deep dive, but for the Bridgerton season 2, they had like a fake name the production would use because they couldn't say, hey everyone, bring your trucks down to Bridgerton set. So they had like a fake name they operated under. And that name was Waterloo. By the way, I found out that name on the first day of shooting. So your shit code name, by the way. And I was like, you're not as sneaky as you think you are. Also, I was like, that's annoying me. This season is set in 1814 and Waterloo famously doesn't happen until 1815. So the entire season I was like twitching. Like, oh, I want to correct them. Why have they chosen this name?
Oh,
so that's
God.
your Napoleon adjacent podcast facts.
There we go.
We finally reached our last email. Thank you for everyone who's stuck around.
Last email. Oh my gosh.
Hey ladies, I can't believe we're here. I've really enjoyed your podcast. Thank you so much for your inbox segment. It's so great listening to everyone's thoughts and emails about the show this season. Since this is the end of the season, I've been trying to think about why I enjoy this show so much. Yes, it's easy to get lost in the grandeur of Bridgerton, the elaborate and massive locations, the beautiful balls, and the ornate costumes. It's a feast for the eyes, but why are so many of us into the show and invested in these characters? I mean, There's no other show that I write emails to a fan-created podcast about. I know this season you have been spending a lot of time on the themes of the show, identity, duty, and legacy, but I also think one major theme is trauma. Trauma is a very human experience and something most of us have encountered at some point in our lives, and it's something that is shared by a majority of the characters. But it's through the passage of time and the love that the characters have and develop for each other that their scars are able to heal and they're able to live with their traumas. I think for me at least, this is what resonates. Even though this is a fictionalized world, Shondaland has been able to use the blueprint from Julia Quinn and develop these fully formed characters who make very realistic, very human decisions, which allow the viewer to empathize with them and hope that they're happy endings. Given the current climate and everything that's going on in our world, to see these characters find love and find a happy ending is very satisfying. Speaking of growth from trauma, I wanted to take a moment and talk about Lady Violet. I know she's not your favourite person this season, but I'm going to try to defend her. The big complaint is that she doesn't show or doesn't say what the characters always need to hear, but I think that humanises her as a mother. She's been the one from the beginning pushing for her children's happiness. She wants them to know the kind of love that she had with Edmund, and had Anthony shown some semblance of happiness for his decision to marry Edwina, I think she would have been content, but ultimately she knew her son was not happy. She doesn't always get it right all the time, but when it counts the most, she comes through. This is evident in the final scene they have together when she tells Anthony that Kate is awake. I think she can see herself in Anthony at that moment as their emotions come out over the potential loss of Kate. It reminds her of the loss that she felt for Edmund. The love they shared together outweighed any pain she may have felt, and she ultimately gives him the courage to open up his heart to Kate. I think it's so interesting how Daphne and Anthony initially saw their parents' love and marriage. Daphne saw the love between Edmund and Violet as an example of something to strive for in her own marriage. However, Anthony, he saw the opposite, that the love his mother and father shared as a weakness. It's been a journey to see these characters grow and evolve. I can't wait to see what Pollen has in store for us next season. I can't wait to hear the podcast, hoping you guys will do a commentary for season 2 as well. From Jennifer. Oh, Jennifer, that was a beautifully put, and almost made me like Violet.
It really was.
Like how beautiful that was.
Yeah, I really liked Violet by the end of the series. Related to the depth of her grief, very, very much on a visceral level. And so the scene where she comes to tell Anthony that Kate has woken up was really incredibly moving. To see her speak about what she experienced, and that was great.
I think why I love that scene is it was the first time she spoke about the loss of Edmund where it wasn't centered on herself. Like she acknowledged that other people went through the trauma with her. I think sometimes when these things happen, you can sort of just, as a coping mechanism, you can become quite self-centered. And it's like...
Absolutely.
It's like, I know I criticize Violet. I don't think she's a very good mother, but I think she has excellent reasons to not be a good mother. And it's like... She's just life, though, isn't it? It makes her an interesting character.
She is very human. And... when you are going through a grief like that, I've never lost a spouse or partner, but I know I've spoken about having lost my mom. You do become very focused because you get blinders on, you get tunnel vision, and you can't. It's hard to focus on anything beyond your pain. So I think that. The scene that we're speaking of, I'm guessing that she's maybe come to terms with the fact that others were hurting as well, but I don't think that she had been able to articulate it until that moment.
I think my struggle with Violet is not so much that she went through those emotions or that she struggles to articulate it. It's like the timing is obviously a result of the writers.
Yeah.
So it's really more of a frustration with the
There
writers.
we go.
Of like, I've had my breakthrough, everyone. Thanks for sitting through like 20 hours of therapy with me. It's like, it's just the sheer timing of it having to be in the last episode where she finally is able to make this connection.
Yeah.
When he's been desperate from it to have this conversation for years. I'm like, why?
Why now? When there's like,
Anyway.
Okay, guys. Well, that's enough from us. That should keep you happy for the next 2 weeks, I hope.
Don't come in my DMs. I'm so tired, everyone.
We will be back in 2 weeks with our book club podcast. Until then, you can follow us on social media. We are at In the Books Network on Instagram and Twitter. And if you have any thoughts on the Viscount Who Loved Me that you want to share via email, then send us an email at inthebooksnetwork@gmail.com. And remember to subscribe, rate, and review because it really helps us. So until next time, bye!
Bye!